the slogan for the trade is master your craft. You got to be able
Yep.
to, you know, not stay stagnant, not plateau, but that work ethic, like you said, that work ethic that your dad taught you. That's like that beats luck, that beats privilege. Is that work ethic, so that you're gonna put in the work, man, and you're the one that's benefiting from it. And that's
Yeah,
what I
man.
like the most about it. Was like I was doing this for me, not for
Hmm.
for the benefit of
Yeah.
somebody else, because I'm the one learning.
Hola, what's up, everybody? On today's episode, we have Johnny Castro, first year tech out of Idaho. He just completed his 1 year back in October. He's only 22 years old, but he's a good dude who wants to excel at everything he does. I'll let him tell a story. All you new guys, listen up. All you vets, show your support. But first, I just want to give a quick thanks to the sponsors of the podcast. With VIZALOGIX, the future of remote support is here. Visit VIZALOGIX.com/HVAC. And my favorite CRM, Jobber. You know that us techs aren't meant to be behind a desk all day. Get out there and manage your business on the go. Visit getjobber.com/reliablehvacr. Links will be in the description. I'll give you more details after the show. Now, show your support for the podcast. Drop a like, subscribe if you haven't yet, leave a comment, and come on, guys. If you're listening to the audio podcast, follow and leave a review. Hopefully, it's a 5-star review. I appreciate all of you tuning in. And now, let's get on with the show.
All right, Johnny, how you doing?
Pretty good, man. Long day at work, but it's never a bad day.
Never a bad day when you do HVAC. So,
Yeah.
has it been busy still for you guys? What are you guys doing right now?
So right now we're picking up a whole lot of maintenances. It's that winter season now, so I live up here in Idaho, so it gets really cold, and we're keeping busy with just today I was learn how to replace a what do you call it, a reversing valve on a heat pump.
I've never done one. I barely saw one like
Okay.
a year ago, and I kind of
Yeah.
thought like, holy crap, I might have to change one soon. I have like two locations that kind of have it. We don't really need heat. Well, I've never seen them down here. Everything down here is like electric heat, and that's what everything is like going to. I used to work on gas here and there, but in Texas we don't really need heating.
Right.
We get like 50s, maybe 40s, and that's as cold as it gets. Everybody just shuts off the AC and opens the windows.
Gotcha.
It's
Man,
because
that's crazy.
it's always so damn hot down here. It's like a relief when we get winter.
That's right. That makes sense, though. Up here, it's the complete opposite. Right now, this morning was like we were out there warming up that compressor and everything with like some heated blankets and stuff because it was like 29 degrees, man. So it was the complete opposite over here.
So you were learning to work on some reversing valves. Did you have to change one out or anything?
Yeah. So today we came across one that wasn't working. It got stuck on the cooling side of it, so we went and switched to heat. And I was working with one of the trainers up here at this company I'm at, and yeah, it was pretty cool. It was an all-day process. Got there at like 8 a.m., left at like 5:30. So
This
really
being
cool.
your I guess first time working on it, did you get hands-on or did you just learn for today?
That's what I like about how I've been taught thus far, has
Yeah.
been very hands-on. It was literally he just showed up and he was like, all right, do this. do that, don't touch that, don't touch that, you know, kind of, it's very hands-on.
So you got to do the work. That's awesome. I love when that happens because like, uh, you know, some people just they're like, you know, showing you, and then it doesn't click until you
Yeah.
actually get hands on and do it yourself. And then, you know, sometimes you'll make mistakes and you'll have to learn that way. But it's the way of the trade.
That's exactly right, man. That's exactly right. And I'm a hands-on learner. Like I'm a visual learner, and if I can even touch it and mess around with it, then you know I feel like I'm actually picking it up.
Yeah, that's awesome. So,
Yeah.
like you said, you're from Idaho. How's the weather right now? Like, what kind of how cold is it over there?
So right now, it's ranging from 28 degrees starting yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
uh, probably a high of 38 to right back down. Yeah.
Oh, we never see that. It's like we had that issue one year where it was like a freeze,
Hmm.
severe freeze or something, and it got to
Okay.
20, and I've never seen that personally. At least like working,
Dang.
being out in the field, and I'm like, dude, I don't want to go out there. But we had a bunch of freezers that went down. You know, we mostly work on like restaurants,
Really? Okay.
and
Okay. Okay.
freezing my ass off out there, and like the issue we have is it's so hot all the time, right? You can
Hmm.
charge a walk-in cooler or freezer in the summer, right? There's a
Oh,
receiver that holds that winter charge, which
okay.
is like
Okay.
that extra charge that you need in the low ambient times of year. And we would never really need it because it's always like I told you,
Right.
50s or something like
Yeah.
that. But whenever it dips under like that cold, if that installer, that tech didn't like fill the receiver or get that all that charge in
Hmm.
there and you know get all that in, then like when it gets cold, those freezers don't work, those coolers don't work. And then
That's
I had a
crazy.
ton, I had a ton of calls that year because we had just picked up a new customer,
Hmm.
and you know I don't know the history on them. I've never worked on them. We were like
Wow.
slowly getting into it, and like all of a sudden the phone starts ringing. It's like our cooler's down, our freezer's down, our cooler. Like I'm running around, and it's like they're all low on charge. There's no leaks. You know, they were working fine all
Yeah.
summer. It's
It
just
was
like
just low.
when that freeze hit, where it was like 20 or under, like they didn't have enough refrigerant to go through, or enough pressure, right? And
Dang.
I was out there trying to figure it out because I don't have like I don't know. Do you guys use like heating jackets or anything for your tanks, like
Yeah.
when you
Yeah.
charge
Yeah.
them up?
Yeah.
I didn't
Hmm.
have any of that because I've never had to use them. And I'm
Right.
out there like trying to, you know, put a torch to a tank, get it warm enough.
Yeah.
And I think I recorded one of those, and I was trying like to say, you know, be cautious, or I
Yeah.
don't even think I showed much of it because I was like, I got to do what I got to do, right? I got to get
That's true.
this
That's why they're
equipment up and
paying you,
running.
right? That's
Yeah, but
crazy. I can't imagine that.
that was crazy for me because I've never seen that. So like I'm used to like
Right.
raw hot days. We were averaging like 115, 117 all
Gosh,
summer,
dang.
and it's like, you know, it's hot. It's real humid too because I'm by the coast. So
Right.
as you can
Okay.
imagine, because I'm down here by South Texas, Mexico border.
Okay. Okay.
So we
Yeah.
have all
Yeah.
the beaches and everything there. And man, it gets real humid. So that 100, it's like it always says like 105 or 100 degrees or whatever, and then like the feel like, you know, the actual heat
Hmm.
index is
Hmm.
always like 10 degrees up. It feels way
That's
hotter.
crazy. Even now, is that how it is like right now?
Today it's hot. The humidity's not bad, but it's we're in the 70s and the 80s.
That's crazy.
So what are we like? We're almost Thanksgiving, and it's
Yeah.
still like 80 something.
That's crazy, man. No, not here. We're expecting a little snowstorm to hit soon, so that's the complete opposite.
Yeah, and see, I've seen snow maybe a couple times, just because
Right.
it's one of those things like every 4 or 5 years, like it gets that cold to where that might happen. I think the last time it wasn't real snow, it was just like frosting up on like the
Just a
cars
little
and
bit.
on the windows and
Dang.
stuff. But yeah, when I was younger, we had snow, and I've only seen it like twice. So it's just one of those like
Shoot, man.
routine things. Like
Hmm.
every 5 years or so, you see it. Five,
Yeah.
10 years, I don't know what it is. So you service Well, you're in Idaho. You service that area. Is
Yeah.
that where you're originally from, or where are you from?
So I'm originally from Utah, from West Valley. So it's near downtown Utah, Salt Lake City area. Um, but I served a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints for 2 years. That took me to Australia, and then COVID hit, so I had to come
Oh,
back
okay.
home, and I finished up in Florida. And then by that time, my family had moved up here. So I was like, all right, well, I guess we live in Idaho now.
All right. So then you basically grew up in Utah. Is that what that is?
Yeah, yeah.
Grew up, and
Hmm.
then you got to travel a little bit. How
Yeah.
how's Australia? Because that's a big. I would feel like that's a culture shock.
Yeah, no, it is, man. You wake up and you're like, holy cow, you're literally on the other side of the world. It's crazy, crazy.
And down
And I always
under.
tell, yeah, you're literally other side down under. I tell everyone, if you ever get the chance to go to Australia, you gotta go. It's just like once you get past all the bugs, the spiders, everything's trying to get you. Once you get
Yeah.
past all that, it's a beautiful place for sure.
Oh, that's awesome, man. And getting to travel, at least do that
Yeah,
out of the country. That's a cool experience that you have now. And oh man,
oh
I can't imagine being out there in Australia, but you were doing your thing over there.
yeah. Yeah, man, it's crazy. I mean, we leave, when when we serve missions, you leave family, you leave work, you leave school, you leave everything just to go and preach, the word of God. So it's really cool. It's a neat experience for sure.
So do you go out there, and are you like a speaker, or do you do different things?
So, um, it was kind of different for me, kind of different because, like I said, COVID hit the
Oh
beginning of
yeah,
my mission. So when I first got there, it was, like you see in the movies or commercials, just these guys with white shirts and ties
yeah.
knocking on doors, and hey, do you got a moment to talk about Jesus, right? And so that's kind of how it was for the beginning, and then we had to learn social media and how to continue spreading the word uh, through Facebook and all those other means. So
Yeah, that's crazy because I feel like that whole 2020 situation, like everybody turned to social media, working from home. That was a
yeah,
big change for everybody, and everybody had to adapt to that. Because I even had
definitely.
the other week, I had some people that are like on a marketing team, and they
Hmm.
said just when COVID hit, that completely changed the way they do things because they're not
Right,
calling on
right.
the phone, they're not in person as much, and you got to learn social media and how to kind of get your word out for whatever you're doing.
Exactly, man. 100%. It was really cool because I graduated high school a year early. So I graduated as a junior and I did a year of
Awesome.
college and I studied social media marketing.
Oh,
So,
awesome.
yeah, going through COVID and all that, and now, building this, building up my personality, building up more content creation with HVAC has been really cool to be able to see how it's done, how guys like y'all do it, and it's cool, man.
And like how it's like developing and stuff, because like
Yeah,
this wasn't here a few years ago, right? We didn't see these
exactly.
people. uh the YouTube, even the TikTok. I'm still new to that one, but
Yeah.
YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, I'm still trying to figure out like the TikTok and
Hmm.
Facebook, and doing a podcast now. Like there's actually people out there that want to help, that want to share. uh
Yeah,
I just use this as an excuse to get to know people and talk to other
bro, it's good,
HVAC
bro.
techs.
It's
No,
good. It's good. Like
it's
I
cool
said,
because like I don't get to do that around here, right?
right, right.
Unfortunately, like I know good companies, I know so companies, right? Some of them
Hmm.
don't want to talk shop, don't want to tell their secrets or
Right, right, right.
entertain anything like that. But if you go on Instagram, if you go on YouTube, all these guys are like open. You can hit
Yeah,
any of them up, have any questions, they'll help you out. And that's what I learned real quick because I used to bug, Chris Stevens and all these other dudes
hmm,
that were there, and I'm like, hey, I got this over here that like I don't know if it's an issue or with this or that, and they'd help me
right.
out. So I thought that was really cool.
No, well, I mean, that's kind of why I started. I watched one of your podcasts and one of your videos, and I was like, there's no gatekeeping. You know,
Yeah,
that's what I thought was really cool. Was like, it's a community where me, a new guy who's barely picking this up, can go and talk to and ask anyone and get an answer.
Yeah, yours
So
yours is called like Castro's HVAC, right?
yes, sir.
Yeah, if anybody listening, like I said, I'll do the intro and all that. But if anybody's listening, go follow Johnny here on Instagram and YouTube. Uh, that's awesome, man. Because I've had these conversations with other guys, right? And it's always like, should I
Mm,
start? One guy was like, I'm too shy, but he wanted to do it. I was like, just
right,
go
right,
for it.
right.
Like, what's the worst that can happen? Like, either
Yeah,
it works or it doesn't. Like most of it now though is positive, which I think is awesome because I had to deal with some
right.
crap when I started.
No, for sure.
But I have
I
not
bet.
seen that. I have not seen that anymore. Like even on my channel, like it was a bunch of like
Mm-hmm.
negative comments when I started, and it
Uh-huh.
like those people gradually like just got off
They
or
just start
something.
disappearing. Yeah.
Yeah, and now everybody that I see posting, they get a lot of support. So the community
No,
is
for
great.
sure.
I love what I'm seeing there. I love what I always bring up Ben HVAC Tactical,
Yeah.
the
No,
stuff
for
that he
sure, man.
does. That's amazing. But we have a whole community there, an award show, all that stuff.
Yeah. Well,
Do you plan on
specifically,
going out there?
that's what I was going to talk about. He
Go for it.
he saw. I think he saw my video. I don't know what happened. I think it was when I first launched my first video, and he messaged me. He was like, "You gonna come to the award show?" And bro, I was like freaked. I was like fangirling. I was like, "What? That's crazy!" And so yeah, we're making the means to get out there in Chicago in January, man.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. If you go
Mhm.
out there, I'll see you out there for sure.
Yes,
But
sir.
Ben is just an awesome dude. I consider him like everybody's big brother, and
Yeah,
super supportive. Has a lot on his plate, but he's very
I
supportive of
know.
everybody.
And he's so active on social media. He's active with like so many projects, and yeah, I like that. He's a big brother for sure.
For sure, man. So let's get into like some of the stuff that you do. So what kind of work
Okay.
do you do on a day-to-day basis?
So on a day-to-day basis, and obviously it's been changing for me. I
That's
officially
HVAC.
hit yeah, it's officially hit my first year, October like 27th or something. So, it went from riding with another technician to taking notes to just watching one day, doing a butt ton of homework. Because I
And
just
man,
barely started school.
congrats on the 1 year because some people don't even stick around for that. So you got to
Thank
get
you.
through. You got to get through like the first year or so
Yeah,
of learning and being at the bottom, basically, right? And then
for real.
it'll start rolling if you just put you put a lot into it. You're gonna get a lot out of it.
Yeah, no, you gotta put your big boy pants on. You gotta put in the work. It's not just gonna come up. And but now for me, the day to day, we start pretty early. I mean, early-ish, I guess, 7:30. Uh, and then now that I'm kind of like a more trusted technician, that I know a little more of what I'm doing. They'll
Hmm.
throw a few like diagnostics on me, some no heat calls right now, specifically with this weather that's going on.
Is your
And
is your
then
company like a residential company, or do they do a little more?
all of it, all of it,
All of it?
duct cleanings,
Okay.
commercial, residential, install. We have probably the biggest company in the valley since we service the Treasure Valley, which is like Boise area. All of that surrounds that. I
Yeah,
did my research before
that's
picking a
good.
company,
Yeah,
and
that's good.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So that was the cool thing was they asked me, "What do you want to do?" And I had a little bit of experience doing some commercial, uh, and I was like, let me start with residential. It seems like something I can pick up a little quicker, and
Yeah.
then perhaps in the future move to commercial. So,
So okay, before this, is this your first company that you've been at, or did you have experience prior to this?
so it's my first actual company that I've been working with.
Okay.
The brief experience I had beforehand came from one of my uncles. He's an HVAC tech in LA, and
Okay.
I'd worked with him a few summer, and then when I came home off my mission, it was, I was out in LA for 2 weeks just learning from him, and then really hit. I was like, okay, this is something that I think I can do like legit now. And so
Okay.
I just full sent it. I a bunch of people ask me at work, "Oh, how did you get into HVAC?" And I'm like, you know what? I saw the opportunity. I met a pretty girl. I decided to get married, and I said I needed some money, and HVAC was the route I wanted to go.
Yeah, that's awesome,
So
man. Because you definitely get a good check or something that's guaranteed,
yeah,
right? Because like
exactly.
if you learn this skill, like what I always say is if you learn a skill, you eat for life, right? It doesn't matter like
Hmm.
what company you're at, you know, if they don't treat you well or if
Yeah.
they let go of people, you can find another job pretty easily, or you can do your own thing. Like there's a whole bunch of ways
Hmm.
to go about it, just as long as you have that HVAC skill, right? You can do a
Exactly.
lot. So
Yeah.
did you learn a lot from your uncle then?
I did. I did. I mean, it was that learning phase where you're learning, but it's not really sticking, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, I knew how to work with my hands because we have a fence company in our family. So we put up like vinyl
Okay.
fences around homes and stuff like that, around communities. Um, but it was just tiring, man. Like my respects to my family that does that, but I was like, shoot, I need something a little more hands-on, a little more like mental, you know. And so yeah, learning from my uncle was really, really good because he was super patient, uh, and he would check up a lot. And he would, again, like I said, he was very hands-on. It was very much so like don't be afraid of it. Just go for it.
Yeah, those are the good ones. You know, you get lucky when you get a guy that's
Yeah.
for one patient, right? Because like even I get annoyed with some of the questions I get sometimes when I'm out there with a helper or when my brother was starting out, right? And
Right, right, right.
you got to be patient because then you know as a new guy you just want to know like why or how,
Yeah.
like
Uh-huh.
constantly, right? And at like the older techs are just trying to get in and out, so there's always that
Exactly.
little battle there with the two. And you know, when you can find somebody that can mentor you and kind of at least, you know, give you some tips and tricks, even if it's just, you know, that to get you by, you know,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
No, yeah, exactly. And I've been blessed, man. I've been blessed to have very good mentors and trainers that are like
Yeah.
that are very patient. I'm talking like first time on call, it was midnight. I had no idea what the heck was going on with the system. I called him and I was like, man, I'm sorry to bother you. And he was able to walk me through and was like, all right, here's how to do it. You're gonna be okay. And I was like, dang, I hit the jackpot for sure.
That's awesome. So you said you just finished basically doing a year of this. How old are you?
I am 22. So
Dude, okay, you're young.
yeah.
You got that. You got a good you get a good start there because like some people start a
Yeah.
little later. You know, even
Hmm.
myself, I mean I've always said this on other episodes that like my dad kind of got me into it, right? You know, he needed
Right.
help on the HVAC side because he does a commercial kitchen equipment, and I do the
Okay. Okay.
refrigeration side. So then I went to help him out. You know, I went to school for it and all that, and
Hmm.
I just wanted to collect the check. I'm just, you know, I'm being honest. You know, I didn't really think
No,
of it
yeah.
that deep. And I had friends, I had roommates. You know, like my mind was elsewhere when I started. It took me a few years to actually kind of like zero in and be like, no, I need to work on this, right? I need to work on my
Hmm.
people skills, my technical skills, and I got really cocky.
Right.
I'm not gonna lie. Like I did pretty well. I've always been good at fixing things. I got kind of cocky too.
Hmm.
Like, oh, I just go in
Yeah.
and out, fix it. I didn't understand the
Yeah.
I didn't understand the customer service aspect of it, especially running a
Okay.
business. And there's a lot of stuff that I had to learn, and it took me a while. But like I finally picked it up and ran with it. And
Mhm.
you know, I just hope that guys that are listening, new guys that are getting into the trade, you know, pick it up sooner because then you'll have that head start, and you can, you know, you got a whole career ahead of you once you kind of learn to do all the little things, learn as much as you can, you do all these things and just be better, you know.
Yeah. No, for sure. Like I said, I'm very blessed to have had the opportunity to learn, and I like it. That's the thing is like I was skeptical at the beginning. I was like, bruh, I was studying business at Boise State. Like I wasn't really trying to, do like a trade or like, that
Yeah,
labor. Uh,
yeah, because you
but
said
yeah, over time.
your family did fencing, right? So is that your
Hmm.
dad and other
Yeah, my
members?
dad and his brothers and in Utah, and now in Idaho we have a company out here, and so that's all I knew, was fencing.
And
Was
that's like,
leveling them.
yeah, and that's intensive labor, right? That's just
Yeah,
like
bro.
a lot of labor, a lot of stuff like that. Which is
Yeah,
fine, right? Every trade is
it
great.
is.
But
Exactly. Like my respects to them that do that, and I did it for a long time, but it's like I needed to find something else.
yeah, everybody has their own thing. Like I said, when I congratulated you on your first year, see, I wanted to do what my dad does. I've always been
Uh-huh.
somebody to open up things, fix things. When I was younger, I used to
Hmm.
fix smartphones, electronics. I've
Okay.
done a lot of things like that. So it was
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
natural to get into it. My youngest brother also works for us.
Okay.
He's more of a gamer, but he's very good
Hmm.
with his hands, very good at, and he's very meticulous, right? I think he has like OCD or something. Like he's very good in our line of work, when it comes to
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. And he picks up a lot of little things that I don't even see. So
Oh,
great,
okay.
he's great at it too. Now my middle brother, I have a
Hmm.
middle brother who went to work with us, right? He didn't know what he wanted to do either. I think
Uh-huh.
he was working at the mall or something before. He didn't even last a day, honestly. He's like, nope,
Really?
I'm not showing up tomorrow. This is not for me. I'm
He
done.
called it quits.
Yeah. So like
It's like that, man.
it's not for everybody, but it's a good trade to be in, and that's why I said, good for you for sticking with it. Because like you said,
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
you had your fencing, business that your family does. You could have stuck with that, right? But you wanted to do something else. And then you said you went
Exactly.
to I mean, we all have to go to college for something, right? It's always pushed.
Right.
But
Oh, yeah, yeah.
you went for like a business, you said?
Yeah, yeah. So I was studying business with the desire to get into international business because I speak
Oh, okay.
uh, English, Spanish, and Chinese, and so
That's
my
awesome.
desire was to do that. And so when HVAC came out of nowhere, bro, and it caught me off guard, and I actually started liking it.
Yeah.
Uh, then I was like, okay, shoot. Well, there's got to be a way somewhere down the future, somewhere down the line that it's gonna merge, right? But right now, I gotta
Yeah.
learn as much as I can.
Yeah, I mean, definitely they can connect, they can merge, and that's why, like I said, the other week I had a marketing team, people from
Hmm.
marketing on here,
Hmm.
right? Because there's different aspects to the whole HVAC that I've been trying to tell people, right? You don't have to
Right.
just be an installer or whatever, right? You can do commercial,
Hmm.
residential, industrial, whatever you want to get your hands on. But there's also
Right.
like people that work at counters, people that work as salesmen, marketing team,
Hmm.
social media,
Hmm.
like there's tons of stuff. So designing, right? Like if you're good at
Oh
designing
yeah.
stuff,
Hmm.
all that stuff is there if you just get your foot in the door and then figure out
Exactly.
what kind of avenue you want to take. So there's a lot.
Exactly. And that's the thing that a lot of my generation nowadays isn't aware of. Like, I always get complimented, like, "Oh, you're one of the youngest techs we've ever had." Because a lot of my generation, they're not doing the trades. They're not working with their hands anymore. So there's a lot more to HVAC than just the tools per se.
So are you still working on that degree or how's that going?
I so I got married this summer, so I put it on pause for a little bit. But I'm
Congrats.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's been great, but I'm looking to going back to school. Um, taking it a credit at a time. But I
Yeah.
do, that's one of my goals. Like I'm a first generation uh, Hispanic here, and I'm the first one to go to college. I'm the first one to have a work at a company with healthcare insurance, with vision insurance, like and so there's a lot of those things, and one of those things for me is to graduate and get my parents that degree to show myself
Mhm.
that I was able to do it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's good that you're doing it now because like if you let it go too long, you might not want to go back
Yeah.
because like I'm also the first one to go to college in my family, right?
Hmm.
Now
Okay.
I always tell people that's not important. It's not this and that, but like it is a little something to get off your to do list or your
Yeah.
whatever you want to call
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
right? It's an achievement.
Hmm.
So I got lucky that I found an HVAC program at my college, right?
Okay.
So I switched over from electrical engineering to basically HVAC, right?
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
I finished and I got my degree, and now I have one, right? I can say I went to college. I can say I did all of that.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I did at one point want to go back to get another degree or expand on it. I let it go
Yeah.
too long, and I'm not going to go back at this point. So that's what I'm saying. Just don't
Gotcha.
let it go. Don't let it go too far. It's good that
Yeah.
you're doing it now, because you'll just get busier later.
Exactly. Exactly. And so that, it's just in the world we live in, to society, I've always kind of just noticed that you got that piece of paper that says that you accomplished a career, a degree, a trade, I don't want to say you're worth more, but in society's eyes, it's like, okay, well, they can put in the work,
Yeah.
it's just
Like
that's
I,
just how
like
that
I
little piece
said,
of paper is.
yeah, like I said, it's a little achievement there. Like I'm working for
Yeah.
myself, and I got lucky in that part, in that sense, to where my dad, did this company, and I'm
Hmm.
grateful and I'm thankful because I didn't have to go through a lot of that kind of stuff, right? Being judged
Right.
by any means on that side of things, right?
Hmm.
I had the paper to justify whatever, but
Right. Right. Right.
like I'm in my own business. I get to do my own thing, and I've been blessed
Hmm.
in that way. Um, but there is something to the trade though, because what happened when that 2020 COVID and everything, all of that came crashing down.
Yeah.
Everybody with a degree didn't really have much to do. All the tradesmen,
Exactly.
tradeswomen were out there still working. So
Hmm.
that's the thing people need to understand, is like what makes this world go round, right? It's a lot of the
Yeah.
trades, a lot of
Exactly.
construction, building, electricians, plumbers, and definitely HVAC.
Yeah.
I mean, no, and that's what I always tell people when they ask me, like, should I get into this trade? Is it a good trade? Is it a good future? This and that.
Right.
The main thing, which I hate, and we can touch on it in a bit if we want, but they always ask me like, what's a starting pay? And I think I even got that
Hmm.
question for one of my Instagram questions for you, but like, what's
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
starting pay? How much am I going to make now? And this and that. And I tell them, like, you're not going to like the answer. It depends on where you live.
Yes.
Also, because I live in a low market area, you're not going to get $20 an hour if you're starting out here. You're going to get like closer to
Uh-huh.
10, 12, 15, something around there, depending on what and how they value you. So,
Right. Right. Right.
you have, it's a good trade to be in. It's just, you like I said, they ask me all these questions, but it's you got to work your way up. You got to get in there for
Yeah.
your first few years. Those raises will come, right? The more you know, the more
Exactly.
you're worth. And it's just like I always tell them, like, yeah, like the what makes the world go round, like all this other stuff, but
Hmm.
just think about it. Like, refrigeration is never going to go away, because like as far as like what I do, product, there's
Right.
restaurants, there's
Always.
supermarkets, that's like millions of dollars of product that they have. They need technicians working on those things like 24/7.
Hmm.
Whether it's residential or commercial, you're always going to need air conditioning and heating, right?
Exactly.
You
Hmm.
have families with little kids, with elderly, they need their air conditioning. They can't always go get a hotel or whatever it is.
Exactly.
Some of these families can barely afford to fix their equipment, so like it is
No,
what it
yeah.
is.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and on the commercial side with me, when I get called out, it's because a lot of customers are walking out because it's too hot. They don't want to eat in the restaurant. So that's a lot of money that they're letting walk
Mm,
out, and they want that
mhm.
technician there fixing that equipment. So that's what I
To
always tell
fix
people.
it.
Like, think of that kind of stuff. It'll always be in demand. I mean, there's no way around it.
Exactly. No, yeah, I like how you said it. It's what makes the world go around. Because I've even joked with some of the boys, if something were to happen and we were to become cavemen again, we know how to fan somebody. We know how to make that fan go by itself. It's always going to be in demand. So it's the perfect place, man.
Yeah, I always tell people it's a great trade to be in. Just think about it, right? And like, we can't be without any
Hmm.
of that stuff.
And we're lucky, man. We're privileged, I like to say, in that sense, because I grew up with like AC with some heating.
Yeah.
In Utah, you get a whole bunch of snow, and so the fact that we're able to now kind of give back to the people you know who need it is awesome.
Yeah, man. So at the job that you're working at right now, you said that's your first like actual HVAC job where you are all in. You know, they're putting you out there. They're teaching you. They're getting you to work basically.
Yeah.
How did you go about getting that kind of job? Like, because I always get people that also ask, you know, that they're looking for a job or they want to know what's the best way to get hired. What was your experience, you know, trying to look for a job and then getting one?
I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I was driving on the freeway. I saw one of the trucks drive by, took a
Yeah.
picture of the number in the back, found out where it was, called in, walked in the same day, asked for an application, you know, and I was fortunate enough because I had done something similar a week prior with another company.
Okay.
They never got back to me. So at this one, like I said, I was fortunate enough to have the service manager walk up to me and introduce himself and like get the ball rolling, you know, get the ball rolling. And it's like we said, if one company is not ready to hire you, there's 10 others that are. So, you know, for those that are asking about that, like it's as easy as that. It's as easy as that. Just open your eyes on the freeway. There's billboards, there's vans with, you know, advertisement. And that's what I did. It was literally just a matter of filling out the application. I filled it out on a Monday. I had the job on Wednesday, like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, yeah, experience does help if you can, you know, say that you've or just even knowing how to use tools or anything like that. Like a lot of little things help, but you went in and you kind of presented yourself. That's always a good way too, if you are able to do it in person and kind of get to know the person and like they can see how you are. You know, you can show that you're respectful, your work ethic, whatever you can talk about. And then show that you want it, because like a lot of people, I always tell them like I mean, they need techs everywhere, but they're not gonna just go and like handpick you if you're just sitting on the sofa or whatever it is, right?
Exactly.
So if you make the effort to go out there, I had another guy that was on a couple weeks ago, and he was also looking for a job. He's like, I called like 10 different ones. You know, some of them say no. You know, some of them are discouraging, but like eventually I got through one, and we talked, and you know they were able to come to an agreement and get hired. And that's all it takes, right? Like one company doesn't hire, but the next one might.
Exactly. That's literally it, man. For me, like I said, I was super blessed to just be able to walk in, and I was honest, you know, like I said, I was just like, look, I don't know a lot. And I said that in one of my videos. It's like they make you check a list. What do you know about heat pumps? What do you know about this or that? And I was like, I don't know what any of this is, but I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to put in the work.
Was it so like let's talk about your after, you know, you get hired and stuff. Was it like, you know, a lot to take in? Was it hard to grasp learning the trades or what they do there?
Yeah, no, it was kind of frustrating for the beginning.
Okay.
Just because it's a lot. At least myself, you know, I'm competitive. I grew up playing sports and all that, you know, and I was like, I get
I'm the
frustrated
same.
with
I'm the
myself.
same way, dude. I'm the same way. I used to
Yeah,
play basketball.
yeah, me too. Basketball was like my
Yeah.
main thing, and then, you know, there's always that guy you're looking towards, and you're like, man, I gotta beat that guy. I gotta get as good
Yeah.
as them and beat, you know, their skill. But bro, when I tell you, like, they would, my first trainer would ask me to go get a pair of like, what do you call them, like pipe clamps. I'd be out for like 20 minutes in the truck trying to find out what the heck that was.
Dude, I just did a meme for that. Because
Yeah,
that's like when you send the helper out. Yeah, when you send the helper out, and they're like, "What the hell? I don't know what to get."
That was me, bro. I was looking it up on Google, trying not to look dumb, trying to find what a picture of it so I could take it to them and be quick. Because, you know, I mean, at least I was raised like that. I feel like most Hispanics, especially, you know, in my experience, we're Mexican. It was like, go, 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 go. You know, your boss asks you for something, you go fast. You know, my mom would always say, "Ponte las pilas," put on your batteries, because you gotta go, you gotta move fast.
No, man, that's awesome, because that's a good thing, because and I get the whole competitive thing. Like I said, I used to play basketball, if I didn't tear my ACL, I would have kept going and trying to make. I really wanted to do something with it, man.
Okay.
And but being competitive, it's like a good and a bad thing though, because
Yes.
over here, when you're out there working, I didn't want help. I didn't want to call tech support. That kind of stuff happened to me. I
Okay.
wanted to figure it out on my own. It kind of frustrated me that way too. But yeah, man. And then you if you don't know something, it hits harder because like you want to know
Exactly.
everything. You want to get it quickly, but it takes time, man.
And the embarrassment, man, of walking back and just being like, look, man, I don't know what you're asking me for. It's so embarrassing. It's so frustrating because I'd come home and just like, is this when I give up? Like, am I just going to go back to, not knowing? And that was what pushed me to be like, no, I have to learn. What do you mean? Like, I can't just give up like that.
Was there anything you did to kind of help you through that? Like, whether it was that or like troubleshooting or anything like that?
That's a good question. I was just asking questions nonstop, man. If I'm being honest, it was like if if I could tell that, the senior tech that was there was kind of like in the zone, I would write these questions down. I would make sure to take pictures. And that way when we got back in the truck, I could be like, all right, I got some questions now. I know
And
you
that's
were
a
pissed
that's a
off at
really
that
good,
job.
yeah, that's a really good way to do it, because I tell people too, like, it's okay to ask questions, but if that tech is like you said, in the zone,
Yeah,
frustrated, it's a hot day, whatever it is, try saving those questions for after the job or on your drive or something like that. They'll be
exactly.
much more
Hmm.
inclined to answer those, because sometimes it's tough. You're on the roof, you're out in the sun, or something's not
Yeah,
going right.
yeah, yeah.
They don't want to answer those questions.
No, and I mean, it's obvious, the new guy wants to learn, but it's going to teach you. And it taught me a lot of patience to just be able to like realize that if I can't get the answer right now, if I don't get it from him, I know I can go home and look it up. And so that was what was really cool too. A lot of homework at home, just trying to see and get familiar with tools. Like I was scrolling on in like most common tools uh in HVAC, so I could at least know what the heck the things that they were asking me were for.
Yeah, there's a lot of things you got to kind of like learn as far as like what tools to use, and
Hmm.
then just because you didn't go into school, right? You Everything you learned was hands on.
All hands on, man. I just started my first semester, actually going to school for HVAC as well. So
Oh, so you're
it's,
doing trade school now.
yeah, uh-huh. Yeah, luckily the company we're with, well, they
Awesome.
enroll us and they get us going on that. So it's been really good to now be able to back everything up with the knowledge, the books.
So the company helps you get into all that.
Yeah, yeah. I literally just got an email and they're like, hey, you're enrolled, you start at this point, don't mess up. So it was pretty cool. Yeah, it was difficult. Difficult. Trade school is very different from normal school, I'm gonna say. Because I've done, shoot, almost 3 years of just university, taking your math class, your science class, your writing class. But HVAC school was like, holy cow, dude, this stuff is crazy. Because I'm used to reading the material, take the test, do the homework. But, instead it's like a whole new vocabulary. It's a whole new world for sure.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna get to. Is like I went to school. I was going to school and kind of working at the same time. I
Uh-huh.
actually started as a helper for my dad, so I did more of like the cooking equipment first,
Okay,
and
okay.
then we hired somebody that we could kind of like outsource that other refrigeration work, and that's where I kind of got my experience a little bit.
Hmm.
So, like I said, I kind of worked and went to school at the same time. School is, because some people like hate it or love it, it's really good to get your basics. And like you said,
Yeah.
like when you went out there, you didn't know what certain tools were, what they did, the names of these tools, right? You're
Hmm.
gonna learn all
Hmm.
that in school, right? They're gonna tell you exactly
Right.
what to do with what tool. I learned how to do duct work. I don't even do duct work, but I know how to do it
But you knew how to
manually and
do it,
everything,
right? Hmm.
and all the different ways to do tubing, like what do you call it, swedging your pipes,
Uh-huh.
bending,
Yeah.
all that goes. They do that, and brazing. If you if you need to learn your basics in brazing, but learning all the terms too, because you're gonna need to know like I can imagine how hard it was for you to pick up like superheat, subcool, all this saturated stuff that you have to know the temperatures.
Yeah.
Because a lot of guys, you know, I worked with a lot of older guys too, or I've helped a lot of older guys, and I went to school, right? So I had to kind of tell them sometimes how to do things, or correct them, or help them out. And the one thing that always got on my nerves was when they were telling me what's the pressure, what should the pressure be, and pressure this, pressure that. I'm like, it's not pressures, it's temperatures. What is your temperature? What is the temperature of your condenser? What is your saturated temperature? Give me a superheat number or range at least. You know, I need to know all this, right? Because a lot of the stuff we deal with is like, how hot is it, or is it cooling inside? Like I'm not memorizing PSI numbers, and I do refrigeration. We have like so many damn refrigerants now: 404, That's 134, R22. I was dealing with like R502 and then some other ones that were like ancient, and I'm like, I don't know the PSI. Just give me the temperature, right?
Right. Yeah, no, and then I can like put myself in your scenario. I'd just be freaking doodling on my notepad, bro. That's how it was for the longest time for me. It was like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. When we'd have service meetings and in person, and that's all the old techs kind of like making jokes about superheat. I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about, to be honest.
Yeah, that's like I said, the benefit, because like everybody's like, oh, you learn more in the field, and like that's true. But like, it's nice to know your basics, you know, going out there, or I mean, you're gonna go out there blind, so you know, there's different ways to do it.
Absolutely. That's probably one thing that I do wish I would have done maybe a little different, was to understand more of the basics before I jumped into it. So that way I wasn't as lost for, you know, as long as I was. So
yeah, that's kind of what helped me. Like I said, I did a little bit of I did a little work as I was going to school, right? I ran into some of my teachers, you know, when we were getting breakfast sometimes, because I would ditch school because we had these big projects to do out of town. And then I would like cross path with my teachers, and they're like, "Shouldn't you be in school today?" I'm like, "I got a job out of town. I'll be back tomorrow."
I'll be right back.
I was like, I had to take advantage of being in the field, right? I really love doing it. And,
exactly. That's what I would do. You know, after class at Boise State, I'd take classes from 7 a.m. to 2, 3, and then I go and catch up with wherever my trainer was, and then work from 4 to freaking 8 or whatever. So it was, you know, it was difficult.
Yeah, man. So like I said, I had the luxury of going to school and then kind of applying it right away, because I was slowly getting more into actually working and stuff. And yeah, like I had a few people I could learn from, I could call and this and that. But like the whole plan for me was, my dad needed a refrigeration partner, right? He does hot side, I do cold side.
Right.
So I was never going to go work for another company full time. So I learned from who I needed to. I rode along with some guys that did residential, got my experience form signed off, so I could take my license test, my contractor's license. And I just went into it. So a lot of the stuff that I learned was like by mistakes, or, you know, just seeing it for the first time out in the field. So that was my kind of path through it. Very frustrating, you know, and very like full of mistakes. So that's how I navigated through it. And it was a little different because I got thrown into the fire pretty quick.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. But that's kind of cool though, to be able to work with your dad. And how's that been for you, like working with family?
It's, for the most part, it's good. There are times where we get on each other's nerves.
Yeah.
But he's the one that I learned all this, like how to work, the work ethic, the mindset, all this stuff. He's a very hard worker, and also he used to be an electrician. Now he's done other stuff before, but he was an electrician, and he kind of taught himself because somebody gave him an opportunity to work at a commercial kitchen company, right? That's all they did, right?
Okay.
Commercial kitchen equipment, and they did a little HVAC, but they had their own HVAC guys for that. So he had the opportunity. I remember seeing him study his ass off and learn all this after work or in his free time. And then for this man to then work his way up that company, he got an award there for like Technician of the Year, and it's like a Texas thing. Technician of the Year, became a branch manager, and they had him training other guys. He trained 2 of his brothers that switched over.
Really?
One was a guy that did car alarms. The other guy was like a handyman, did carpet work and stuff like that. He trained them to do what he did, and now they have careers doing what we do.
Doing the same thing.
So
that's tight, man. Wow.
But he did not like being in the office. They kept sticking him in the office. We need you to take care of everything here, train guys. You know, that's what they wanted him to do. He's like, you know, screw it. I'm doing my own thing.
He wasn't about that.
Yeah. And I still can't get him out of the field, man. He's always up there, and he's getting on these roofs, and I always have to get after him. Like, dude, get your ass back down. Yeah, stay off these roofs, man. I don't need you up here. But that's how he is, and that's kind of where I got my work ethic.
That's good.
Him and my grandfather, because they were both like that. They love to work. They love to work with their hands and be out there like solving problems. That's one of my favorite things about this whole HVAC thing is what you brought up earlier, was that you had a job or you had a business where you guys were labor intensive, right? You do the same thing over and over, whatever it may be. If you get into HVAC, you're challenged daily, right? Your mind is challenged. You got to think on your feet, solve problems. So like I learned a lot of that from him. He's very good at solving problems. I still bounce ideas off of him sometimes because I get stuck, right? And he's like, oh, like he just will think out loud with me, and it's like, why don't you do this? Why don't you try that? I'm like, you know what? And then like, you know, we'll get through it. But yeah, man, that's one of my favorite things is how we're challenged, and we have to constantly be improving and you know, crafting our skills in this trade.
Exactly. And it's a never-ending thing. You were always learning. I feel like every day I'm learning something new. And it's like, you know, the slogan for the trade is master your craft. You got to be able to, you know, not stay stagnant, not plateau, but, you know, that work ethic, like you said, that work ethic that your dad taught you, that's like, that beats luck, that beats privilege, is that work ethic, so that, you know, you're going to put in the work, man, and you're the one that's benefiting from it. And that's what I like the most about it. It was like, I was doing this for me, not for like, for the benefit of somebody else, because I'm the one learning.
Yeah, and you put yourself in a good position, right? You're doing really well for being a first year tech.
Thank you.
And that's what I appreciate from new guys is like, do they want to learn? Do they want to do this on their own time or anything like that, right? Like you said, you kind of learn off the clock as well, right?
Yeah. Books is kind of what I did for the first few months. Was like, I found my uncle gave me his book from school. This, I'm talking monster book, man. It's huge, and that's what I would, you know, read here and there and figure it out. And then I came across YouTube videos and like YouTube channels and content creators like yourself, and it's just, I like it. It's such a big community to learn from.
There's no excuse now, because I always tell people like when I started, because I started like 16 years ago, it was very hard to find things online, right? There wasn't much of there was internet, like I'm not that old, but I couldn't find, like, no companies didn't really have their manuals online. And if they did, it would take forever for me to download it or find it. You know, service was crappy. And there was no YouTube, no Instagram, nobody to talk to like online.
That's why I said I had a couple of guys I could call and I could talk to. But even then, sometimes, you know, we would be like, it's over the phone, like you're chasing your tail sometimes. And
Yeah.
and like I said, I had to teach some of the older guys that we had because they learned on the job from somebody and I learned from school.
Right.
And I'm like, you know, technically that's not the way you're supposed to do this, or I had to kind of help with their bad habits and stuff like that. But you know, it's a learning curve, and there's no excuse now. Like I said, I'm always on YouTube. That's a lot. I did a lot of that, especially during COVID. Watching a lot of YouTube. I still have my textbooks behind me. And reading manuals is just the easiest, simplest way to do it. Like manufacturers tell you how to check how to install their stuff, how to troubleshoot their stuff. You just read the manual, right?
Exactly. And yeah, there's no excuse, man. There really is no excuse nowadays.
So then they have you out on your own now, right? Like you're out there, own vehicle, everything.
Yep, my own van, my own tools. Yeah, I mean they didn't stock it very well, so a lot of the first few months was like, "Yo, can I get some of this?"
Yeah.
Because there's none in my truck. But yeah, now I'm on my own. I've been on my own since March, so I really
Okay,
only trained for about 4 months.
Okay, I was gonna ask how long did that take?
Yeah.
Oh, that's another pet peeve of mine. I get after my guys and I'm like, why don't you stock this stuff? Like you see it every day,
Yeah,
right? Like the
bro.
motors, the valves, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like mine is stocked. I might not have like 10 of everything. Like we don't do residential, so I don't have a ton of caps. I get away with some of the universal ones. Like I switched to that Amrad Global brand that does like the multiple sizes.
Yeah.
I get away with a lot of that stuff, but I have my motors, I have my valves that I see all the time, temperature controls. Like I have everything.
Right.
I hate going to the supply house in the middle of a call.
Yeah. No,
That's just one of my pet peeves.
I agree. I'm the same way. I mean, we're pretty lucky. If I'm on a call, make a phone call. Hey, I need this. We have plenty of drivers to drive that part to wherever I am. But even then, it's like, now I gotta sit here and do something else for like 30 minutes.
I know, I hate that, and I tell them like, dude, like we don't we're a small business. We don't really factor every little minute. I know people are like, oh, time is money. I know time is money, but like we don't.
Yeah.
Like we're not too concerned with that. We're a small business, but still, like if I'm wasting it half an hour, like that really gets on my nerves. So
that is money, man.
I try to keep stocked, and I hate having to drive back and forth, and then you gotta, I do commercial accounts. They make us check in and out, so like that's kind of money lost and stuff. Yeah. So you got to make it up somewhere else, but that's a whole other thing.
Exactly.
Did they require you to bring any tools in, or how did that, like, did they supply everything?
So they supplied like the things that we need for repairs for sure. Like we just talked about run caps and stuff like that. But I had to buy just about everything, man. My own, I started off first with the multimeter, and then I started getting, my own 11-in-1 and all of the above. Everything that's in my bag now. That's stuff that I had to buy.
And how did you come about that kind of list of stuff, or did you have to figure it out as you went?
So I did some research
online,
and then the company had kind of like an idea. They had a list put together of kind of like, okay, here's what you might need. But it really just came from talking to other technicians. It's like, hey, this thing looks really cool, but do I need it? Like, what do you recommend that I should really get for my first year?
Yeah, I've tried to do a couple of those videos. I need to go back and see them, but like those, what tools do you need to start with, right? I know those are helpful.
Yeah.
I know those are helpful for some guys because like you said, you're going to go out there and have to buy them when you start. That's what a lot of companies do. And like for me, like going to school kind of got me started because they give you a list there that they require before you even like start your first day. So I had those tools from there. I mean, not all of those made it to like my new bag or whatever. Like You kind
Right.
of learn as you go, like what brands you like,
Yeah.
or what kind of tools you need.
And
So
how you work. I mean, it's very
yeah.
different. How you work is different than how the other guy works. And this tool works for him, it might not work for you.
Oh, I know. I get that all the time. Like, oh, that tool sucks. I'm like, I love it. It works for me. Like, this is my tool bag.
Yeah, no, it sucks. Like I recently just got a Vito pack, my first one. I shifted from this like weird looking like red husky bag, kind of looks like a Walmart sack, so little by little you start gaining um more of an idea as to what tools you want, what kind of bags you want, and all that.
Yeah, I saw the Vito bags. This might have been like 2020 as well,
Hmm.
and I just got tired of my other bags that I would buy from the supply house, because I used to like the backpack tool bags, and
Okay.
the shoulder straps just kept ripping on me. I'm like, dude, and I didn't feel
Really?
like I loaded it out that much.
Yeah.
And I stumbled upon Vito, and I kind of got a few of the bags. I have a little too many now, but uh, I got everybody into them at work, right? So we bought some for our guys. My dad bought some. My brother bought some. So
Nice.
they last, man. They're built
No,
very
yeah.
well.
Shout out to Vito Pack, man. Like I said, I just got my first one, and it felt like a little kid on Christmas. Seeing that new bag, just brand spanking new.
Which one did you
I
get?
like it. I honestly couldn't tell you. I have no idea what it's called, what the
What is
numbers.
it? What does it look like?
It doesn't have the little flap, so it's always open. Tools are always just
Oh,
out.
okay.
Uh, Actually, how I came about that bag was my uncle, service tech in Cali. He bought a backpack and they were doing a sale. So if you got the bag, they'll give you another one for like residential.
It
So
might
he
be
was
like
like
the TP6B or something like that, where it's
something like that.
or yeah, like you said, it's open all the time. It's an
Hmm.
open top bag. Um, but yeah, those are cool because you do mostly residential, right? Like, are you
Yeah,
on the
yeah, yeah.
rooftops at all?
Sometimes,
But
some of these
mostly.
mansions out here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Some of these richer people like to put their units on the roof, but for the most part, I'm in the garage. So it's really cool because then the homeowner comes out and sees the tools. They're just
Yeah.
right there, and so it builds a level of like this guy actually knows what he's doing.
I always tell people it's. I know it sounds bad, but we got to look the part as well, right?
No, for sure.
You got to present yourself, your van and your tools, your tool bag. All of that helps in the customer's eyes, right? To kind of trust you.
Exactly, exactly. So, and that's what's cool about little by little getting more tools, more professional looking gear.
Yeah.
Uh, is you look the part for sure.
Yeah, it's a thing. You got to look the part. It's definitely there. The
Yeah,
customers view you a certain way.
exactly.
Have you had any weird experiences with homeowners yet? Any crazy ones?
Oh yeah.
Do they give you like
uh,
a hard time, or is it something else?
Man, I've had a variety of experiences, but probably the one that happened most recently was kind of like more of a major one.
Oh,
It, had to deal with just some guy who's having a bad day, and I showed up to maintenance his unit, and
uh-huh.
sadly to say, he looked at me up and down, saw my color, and was like, "Get out."
Jeez.
And for me as the first year tech, it was like, uh, what? Like, you never want to disrespect the homeowner. You never want to kind of
Yeah.
make escalate anything. But for me, it was kind of like my first experience dealing with something like that. And I, try to be as respectful as I could. And I made sure to call, who I had to call in the office and let them know what was going on. But that was probably has been like uh, the weirdest one where it was just like, that's like, you're paying us to come out. Why does color of skin matter?
Yeah.
It was interesting.
That's different, man. Because uh, I mean, you're gonna see that every now and then, and hopefully, I
Yeah.
mean, hopefully you never see it again. But man, that's a rough one. And like I was telling you earlier about like how the negativity and stuff, like I've dealt with that online. Not so
Right.
much here where I live in a Hispanic community, so we don't really deal with that too much. But
Mm-hmm.
now there's still people out there like that.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you kept your composure. I'm sure that could have escalated like really bad. Because I come from a Hispanic family, right? My
Mm-hmm.
dad, my grandfather would not put up with that, and there'd be a whole
Yeah.
like catastrophic thing going on. So I've had to learn that a little bit too, because my dad's still kind of like, F that, like I don't want to be
Mm-hmm.
treated like that or whatever it is. Because we deal with managers too. You never know. Like it could be like you said, a bad day. They could have gotten in
Yeah.
trouble or something. They could have something going on at home, and they just take it out on you.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
we've had those managers at restaurants and stuff treat us a certain way or whatever it is, and they're upset with us, barely taking a foot in the door. And
Mm-hmm.
you have to learn to keep your composure. That's going to be one of the hardest parts, like the good and the bad, as far as like customer service,
Yeah.
right? How do you treat your customers, but then how do you respond with how they treat you, right? That's
Exactly.
going to be very important in any aspect of HVAC, because I'm doing commercial, and I always thought like I don't have to deal with the customer, right? Now I do, right? I have to
Yeah.
talk to them when I get there, ask about the equipment, and then I have to talk to them to kind of update them, and then kind of like talk to them on the way out. Um,
Right. Right. Right.
they're not over my shoulder all the time, although I've had those too. The
Oh,
ones
me
that like
too,
to
man.
watch everything,
That's the
and
worst.
you have to be professional. That's a super important part of the trade too.
It is. It is. I've come up with I think, it's a little bit of a kind of a joke I like to tell homeowners when they're watching over my shoulder the whole time. I just tell them like, "Hey, I'm gonna have to charge you for lessons, man, because you kind of just watching over my shoulder." And I joke around about it, and they kind of catch on, like, okay, in residential, you deal with so many different kinds of people, and it's their home, that you're trying to fix.
Hmm.
So, and there are those times when maybe you can't get a fix that night, and
Yeah.
the parts house is closed or whatever the case is. Like, you got to be able to put on that kind of bear a bad news face and say, hey, you know what, we can't get you going tonight. Like, I'm sorry. So that, it's tough. Customer service is a big thing in our industry.
Was that it? Was that easy for you, hard for you when you started, like understanding how to deal with customers?
It was difficult in the sense of terminology and not knowing, but it was definitely easy for me because I had served a mission for the church. Uh,
Yeah, that helps.
yeah, like I said at the beginning, going to knock doors and having, man, doors slammed in your face, alcoholic drinks thrown at me while I was walking, like just hated on. And so I kind of
Dang.
was able to develop a bit of thick skin and learn to talk to people. I guess the big thing. Had I lashed out at that one guy,
Yeah.
that looks bad on me and that looks bad on the
Mm.
company. And so
Yeah.
you got to realize that it's not just you anymore. You carry a company, you carry yourself as a company, as a product. So you can't be kind of just throwing that around in the dirt.
Yeah, and some people don't see it that way. And I've had that conversation before too, where I'm like, we put our like us. I run a business, right? I put my guys out there. They are representing the whole company as well, right?
Hmm.
If they have a fight, if they have an argument, if they lash out on a customer, they're not gonna care about that tech. They're gonna call
No.
us, and they're gonna
Yeah,
lash out on
exactly.
us, and then we lose business or whatever it is. They don't want to pay invoices. There's tons of stuff that
Hmm.
go into it. And then reputation is key
It
in
is.
this trade as
Yeah.
well, because like as a small business, but this pertains to any business, right? Any HVAC company out there, we rely on word of mouth. So that's how we get new customers. That's how we keep our customers,
Hmm.
is word of mouth. People saying that we're good or bad, whatever it is. And any company has to deal with that, because there's Google reviews, right? There's all this other stuff. They tell
Hmm. Exactly.
neighbors or friends or whatever it is, like don't call that company. I had a bad experience or whatever it is.
Right.
That's the one thing you have to keep in mind is like your company is at stake too. Your reputation,
Yeah.
as a company and as a tech,
As an
goes.
individual.
That's gonna stay with you forever.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I learned from these older techs is what I heard once was like everybody knows everybody in
Yeah.
HVAC. And if, you mess up once and someone's already talking bad about you, that can affect you, 5 years down the line. So you
Oh
always got
yeah.
to make sure that you know that you're keeping yourself, in line.
Exactly, man. Uh, so you had said that you were newly married.
Hmm.
How are you able? Because I'm trying to get a perspective on a younger technician or a newer
Yeah.
technician. How do you balance your work and your family time, your family life? Is that
That's
hard for you? Is that easy? Do you try to separate the two as much as you can?
that's a good question. Um, Beside what I'm doing now, we also, with my wife, we run a photography and videography like company as well.
Oh, really?
So it's kind of just work 24/7, but I feel like we have been pretty good at setting those kind of boundaries. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, work starts at this time, it ends at this time. Then from here to here is family time. It's time to
Gotcha.
forget about work, forget about school, and just spend time. I mean, you know, Hispanics are big on family, man. There's kind of like a party every weekend in my family. And so it's,
Yeah.
when we can, we do. When we can have time with them, then we will. But also if we gotta work on a wedding or if we gotta work, if I got to stay after hours, then it's time to work.
I think that's important to, like you said, keep boundaries because there's guys that it affects their family, it affects their relationships.
Yeah.
I haven't had really that issue myself, but I've always,
Hmm.
even working for myself, I do work 24/7 sometimes, right? I got to sit
Right,
down
right.
at a computer. I got to do my billing, my invoicing, quoting, all that. Um, and just if a call comes up, I usually volunteer to do it. If I try to get to everything. Um,
Hmm.
we alternate our weekends and stuff like that, so I try to plan accordingly,
Yeah.
right? But like once I'm out, I mean, I'll answer my phone still because I have to run it, but
Hmm.
once I'm out, I'm with my family, right? I make the time for my kids, uh, date night, whatever it is, and try to do it.
Yeah.
Try to, because if you're just think about work 24/7, if you're just bringing that home, bringing frustrations home, lashing out at your family, significant other,
Oh
kids,
yeah. Hmm.
that's where it gets really dangerous, and you got to know when to, like I talked to Ty Brenneman, and
Hmm.
he had a good little metaphor for it. He's like, when you get home, leave your work problems at work. He's like, imagine like you're hanging something up, and then when you're at home, leave your home problems at home, right? Don't bring those to work
Yeah.
either.
Don't bring them to work. Yeah, yeah.
So you got to know how to separate those two, or you'll be very miserable at either one, work or home.
Exactly. Yeah, and home is to be peaceful. That's one thing that I'm super grateful for my wife that has taught me about setting boundaries, about uh, being able to just let go and making it easier, man. I mean, like I said, I'm 22. I just got married, so I'm still learning life, for that matter. You
Yeah,
know, and so being able to set those boundaries has been so helpful.
yeah, that's awesome, man. And getting or knowing to do that sooner than later is a big help as well.
Yeah. Hmm.
Because like I said, it never happened to me that way, but I've heard other guys say that that
Yep.
is a reason there's like tension, there's divorces, stuff like that. But like the other key thing is to be open and communicate, right? If
Mhm.
a lot of us, you know, because I do it too with my girlfriend, we want to rant, right? We want to vent sometimes, and if they can
Yeah.
listen to us,
Mhm.
even better, right? Get it out, you know, don't direct it towards them, but
Exactly.
get it out, talk a little bit, and then like move on, right? What have dinner, make plans, do something else, um, and go about it that way. That's like I said, I've never had that issue,
Yeah.
but anybody listening, if that helps you guys, you know, just remember to keep boundaries, separate the two. Um, I love being, you know, around my kids and stuff like that. So
Right. Right.
I try to be as present as I can. Don't be on my phone. Don't worry about work. You know, I set my schedules, my
Mhm.
times, like you said. You know, when I'm gonna do office work and stuff like that, I set all that, and I
Yeah.
try to stay to it.
Exactly. That's the key. Time is key. So when you can learn to manage your time, is you're golden.
So I know the trade can be frustrating, right? Like day in
Just a
and day
little
out.
bit.
Do you do anything to unwind? Like, what are some of the hobbies that you do, or try to keep your mind off of it? You know, after work, or do you do anything? Are you a
After,
homebody?
uh, we love to dance, man. I'm gonna be honest.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah, that's how I met my wife was dancing, and so dancing is kind of one thing that we love to do to kind of just let go. Uh, I'm a big, movie guy. Love action movies, comedy movies, Star Wars, Avengers, all the good stuff, man. Not much of a gamer, never really have been, beside like Super Mario. So when it comes time to come home, I'll probably just chat it up, watch a movie. Uh, I love The Office, kind of stuff like that. Something to laugh. I feel like laughter is the best medicine after a hard day at work.
Yeah, man. You gotta take your mind off sometimes. Like I'm
Yeah,
a role like homebody now, right? You know, I'm just here.
yeah,
Kids are here. You know, well, I'll try and watch
right.
something, or I'll try and work on some of the stuff that I do, like the editing and stuff. Um, but man, I'm trying to get back into like being a little active, right? Working out, sports, stuff like that,
Yeah,
because that used to help me a lot. But yeah,
that's what I was gonna
whatever.
say.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say is the gym has been like, you know, second to work. I feel like my day doesn't go good if I don't hit the gym in the morning because
Okay.
I'm a early bird. If I can wake up early and hit the gym before I gotta clock in and get a good pump, then it's like okay, I know I've won that part of my day. So
Yeah.
I like doing HVAC. I know I could win that part of my day as well. And
Gotcha.
basketball, like we talked about earlier, basketball is one of the things I love to do for sure.
Man, I was playing like every day, 20 like late at night. Like that's all I want. That's all I thought about. That's why I never kind of like wanted to get into the trades at first. Like I didn't think about it because, like I
Okay.
said, my dad was an electrician and all that. I was just so focused on sports, right? I was like,
Hmm.
I'm gonna play basketball. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that.
Uh,
Reality hit. I got a couple of knee surgeries later, and I'm like, okay, maybe I should do this trades thing that my dad does. You know,
yeah.
that's
Yeah,
awesome.
but
But
you gotta keep active. Well, especially with our
yeah,
trade. You
that's what I
driving
was
a
gonna get
lot,
to right
you
now.
sitting down, like yeah, for
Yeah.
me it's so easy to just reach over and snack a little bit and then keep driving. So staying active with whatever it is you're doing in the trade is good.
Yeah, I'm a big snacker. I always have chips on me and stuff. Like
Same.
I'm really bad about it.
It's so bad.
But that's what I was gonna get to real quick is like, you know, what we do, we got to take care of ourselves, right? Like you go to the
Hmm.
gym, you kind of get that in before your work day, and it helps to do or to be active,
Yeah.
take care of your body. Because man, like being active kind of helped me in the beginning too because I felt invincible because like the knee
Hmm.
surgeries came a little bit after I started as a helper. So I was
Okay.
still trying to play basketball and stuff, but I felt invincible. I was like, you know, climbing roofs, jumping up here and there. Like I was
Hmm.
the skinny guy. I fit in every area, and I was athletic. I was jumping on, you know, different things. And then
Right.
I had those knee surgeries, and I'm like, I can't do all that anymore. So I got to take care of myself, right? I work out just to compensate for that. And then like I started getting into like knee protection. I wear arm sleeves now for the sun protection because we have a really bad sun here.
Right, I bet. Yeah.
You know, glasses, hats, like whatever it is, like you got to take care of yourself. I don't know if you're on that train too.
I am, bro. My best friend is my chiropractor, if I'm being honest. Because after spending a few
That's
hours
what
in a crawl
Ben.
space,
Yeah,
you
that's what
gotta you
Ben
gotta
has
go see the
talked about.
chiropractor. That's been like my number one go-to. In a crawl space for 3 hours, chiropractor. In an attic for a few hours, you know, I feel like something's not in line, chiropractor, man. Because it's if something doesn't work in our body, you can't work.
No.
Period.
Let me tell you, man. I work, like I said, I work with my family. I work with my brother, and I told you, every now and then they get on my nerves. We had this little argument about a compressor, and I was trying to tell him how we're gonna move it and how we're gonna do this, and I was like, I'll just lift it on my own, right? I picked it up. I was fine. I believe this was a scroll compressor and it was a kind of a big one for this rooftop that we were doing. I did it fine. I moved it over. I got it in place and everything. I felt okay at the time. After work, my back was killing me, and that
Oh
lingered
man.
for a week or two. And
Gosh dang.
and like you said, right, it affects you the next call, the next work day. So I'm like, man, I preach all this stuff, and then I had a little moment where I lost it, and I screwed myself for a couple of weeks. So
Yeah.
be careful out there.
I feel that, man. I mean, for me, it's kind of like the opposite. I'm 6'2", 220 pounds. Like, I'm a big boy. And so these older techs, when I would work with them to change out these compressors, to, you know, change out a whole unit, like, oh, just go ahead and pick it up.
Yeah,
I'm like, well, I look big, but I'm not trying to get wrecked, bro. So, you know, that's what it is. You really got to take care of yourself. Like investing in vitamins, man. Keeping up, you know, on your calcium for your bones and all those little things, like you said, glasses, everything. Because as soon as something hurts, you're out for a few days.
man. Yeah, and it's like, you feel it for so long. And I feel like
Yeah.
as I'm getting older, I'm taking longer to heal, right? I was
Oh
like,
yeah,
I'll
for
be fine
sure.
in a couple I'll be fine in a couple days, and I was like, fuck, like 2 weeks later I'm still feeling it. Uh and
Yeah.
my brother's a big dude as well. But he's very strong. And
Mhm.
I've been that guy, like you said, that older tech that tells the other one, just pick it up. You're strong. I've done that to my brother a couple times too, and I'm like, "Ah," it's because like he
Yeah.
hurts us when he doesn't mean to. He broke
No,
one of my
yeah.
doors one time by slamming it. I'm like, dude, calm down. But yeah, now we try to be more safe.
Yeah.
I have like an umbrella that we put up all the time. I have the knee pads. I
Mhm.
have like I said, I cover myself. Any skin that shows, arm sleeves, because man, I
Yeah.
will get burnt up in the heat.
I bet. No, for sure. For sure, man. That's, you know, you only get one body. You gotta take care of it, especially in our trade.
Yeah, man, and that's exactly what I said because I have a safety video. A guy
Okay.
who's a safety consultant. We have a lot of like
Mhm.
stories to tell in that podcast, and that's coming out. And I told him the same thing. I was like, dude, we only have one body. Like, I'm starting to
Yeah.
realize that, right? Take care of it. Take care of it.
Exactly. I mean, you look at LeBron, that one interview he had a while back, a
Jeez.
few years back, how much
Yeah.
he invests in his body. And we got to do the same, bro. Maybe we ain't like playing in the NBA, but it's kind of similar, you know?
Yeah, man. And well, you're an NBA fan?
Yes, sir.
What's your
Mhm.
team?
You know, I'm from Utah, so the Jazz is kind of runs in the blood, but I've always been a fan of the Lakers.
Yes, I'm a Laker fan.
Yes, sir.
My dad
Mhm.
got me into the Lakers. Of
Really?
course, I was a Jordan fan. I got to see him when I was younger.
Yeah,
Uh,
of
play and all
course.
that. But I was like, who am I gonna go for now? He retired and everything. My
Yeah.
dad was a
Mhm.
huge Laker fan, so I've been a Laker fan
Okay.
ever since. a big Kobe fan. Loved all those
Yeah.
playoffs. Those were great. Feel like
Hmm.
basketball was better before, but I still watch it.
I would have to agree with that, man. I would have to agree. I mean, I grew up, my dad was a huge Michael Jordan fan. My dad balled like no other. And having family in LA, it was always the Lakers. Always
Yeah.
Kobe. So I get you. I get what you mean.
Yeah, and like now, I was never, and honestly, I was never a LeBron fan. Now that he's there, I'm
Hmm.
very grateful. I love watching.
Right, right, right.
But like that dude amazes me, and that's one of the greatest examples of like take care of your body, right? Like this dude
Yep.
is out there with all these young guys killing it, right? It's
Balling them
great
up,
to
man.
see.
Balling them up. It's how he takes care of his body and his mental health. That's another thing too. That's part of
We
it's
gotta,
something like you said, we got to vent sometimes and all that.
oh yeah,
It's part of the everyday.
yeah. Just figure out what's best for you. Like you said, if you get to work out before work, I I I,
Yeah.
I don't get that. I get to work out after
Hmm.
work, do my thing
Okay.
then. And like I said, I like to talk about work sometimes, get it off my chest.
Exactly.
Uh, there's a lot that goes into it. Just take care of your body and physical and mental health. Very important. It makes your day
Hmm.
so much better. Your next day, your next week, whatever it is.
Yeah. Hmm.
If not, man, it's a hard trade to be in if you're gonna have all that kind of building up.
Yeah. And for me, funny enough, man, it's been also kind of enduring a little bit of that bullying from my coworkers because a lot of these guys, I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't do anything, bro. I don't have any tats, I don't have this or that, right? So a lot of them like, bro, when are you
Okay,
gonna pick up a?
I might need to have you back next time because I'm gonna do an open invitation for everybody that came on this year to come on again for like a specific topic. I've
Oh,
been
cool.
looking for somebody that also doesn't drink, smoke, or anything like that because I don't.
Yeah,
I never
I
have,
don't, bro.
never will. So
Me
good to
neither.
know.
Yeah, no, for sure. Let me know, man. But for sure, they're all like, when are you gonna pick up some sort of like a habit, bro? Because you're too clean. You need to get dirty in the trades. I was like, bro, I'll see you when you're on your deathbed. I'm good.
Oh man, I totally get you because like I had to deal with that even just from friends growing up, right?
Hmm. Yeah,
Um,
all the time.
I mean, there's peer pressure, there's all that stuff, but I was like, nah,
Hmm.
dude, I'm good. Like, I want to remember my night. I want to like feel good in the morning. Like, I just wasn't
Yeah.
about it. So that's definitely
Don't
a
get me
topic
wrong.
that I want to have sometime.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. I love to party. Like I said, we're
Yeah,
big dancers in my family. Like,
yeah.
or we used to dance baile folclórico, like the Mexican charros with big things. We love to party. I just never drank, man. Never drank, never smoked, vape, chew. That's a big thing out here in Idaho. It's still country, so people still chew tobacco and stuff. And it's like,
Oh yeah.
nah.
Nah, man. I've been trying to see who else is like that because like right now that I'm with my girlfriend, she's like, I've never
Hmm.
met anybody that like hasn't done any of that or doesn't do it. I'm like, yeah. I was like, I had other things to do. I didn't want
Right.
to. Like, I just thought it was disgusting and all that too. Like, I just didn't want to do it. And
Yeah.
I had friends growing up where they're like, I'm gonna get you one of these days. I'm gonna get you to drink or I'm gonna get you to take a hit or
Right.
whatever. And I'm like, nah, man, I'm
Hmm.
good.
I've just never been about it, man. I mean, I grew up in like the ghetto part of Utah. I was around it all the time. It's just,
Yes,
I think
same.
to each their own. That's all I say. To each their own.
Yeah, it's cool.
What
I had a
works for
bunch of
them.
friends. Yeah, I had a bunch of friends that were into that. I mean, like I said, like you said, I also went out to all the parties, all the different
Hmm.
things that
Yeah,
were going on. Just respectfully, I didn't want any of the stuff that was passed
exactly.
around. But I was still
Hmm.
there. I was still with my friends. Still like to do that stuff. It was just let me be.
Exactly. Yeah, respect them, and they may not respect you, but you're still gonna do what you got to do.
Yeah, man. That's awesome. We're going on an hour and a half. I don't want to keep you too
Yeah.
long. This has been a great conversation. I really appreciate you for coming on the show. Um, to close this out, do you have any advice that you want to give, or for people that are getting into the trades, starting in the trades, based on your experience, being 1 year in, is there anything like you want to
Hmm.
kind of give advice on?
Yeah, yeah. I honestly kind of going back to what you talked about on one of your videos, just do it. Like, don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Don't be afraid to honestly, don't be afraid to help in the world. Like I said in one of my videos, we're so lucky to be able to give back, to be able to help people in the world. Someone told me, treat every house like it's your mom's house. Treat every
Yeah.
business like it's your own business. Like we're here to help. And so, for those of y'all that are trying to see where to start, just start. Everything else is gonna figure itself out. Just start, and you may not like it, but at least you tried it, and you actually gave it some time. It's fine if you don't like it. It's not for everybody, but when you figure out which trade is for you, then stick to it. Stick to it because it's difficult, but the highs just completely overshadow the lows.
Is HVAC rewarding to you? Because I feel like that's a common answer I get from guys as well.
It is. It is. Yeah, definitely. I think I have yet to have a night that I come home or go to bed and feel like not satisfied. Because we run so many calls a day, so many people, and each one of those calls is a person, is a
Yeah.
business. It's not like you're just kind of running around with your head, chopped off. But you're doing good in the world, and that's kind of what's the biggest like rewarding part. Like I said, it's just when that little old lady comes up to you and asks you if she can give you a hug because like her house was cold for like a few hours. It's that
Yeah.
rewarding bit of it, and being grateful, man. I don't know if y'all believe in like the universe or God or whatever you believe in, but realizing that good is gonna come back in blessings, and realize that you're blessed.
That's my thing. Like like with people as well, like treat others the way you want to be treated. But like you
Hmm.
said, in the whole universe of things, like just do good. Good things will happen to
Yeah,
you. That's the best way to go about it.
that's it.
All right, man. So I'm gonna leave your Instagram, YouTube, all that in the description if
Cool.
anybody wants to find you. I appreciate you for coming on, Johnny. It was a great episode, great conversation.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm honored to be on the show. I'm looking forward to the next time that we have a good conversation. Looking forward to meeting all of y'all that are going out to Chicago. And yeah, man,
Yeah.
just it's gonna be good.
All right, everybody listening and watching. I'll see you guys.
Doses.
All right, that was great. If you guys are watching on the YouTube video and you're still around, go ahead and leave a comment. Show your support for the guest. Before you leave, though, let me talk to you real quick. If you ever had an annoying issue where you could have resolved it just by seeing what the other person on the line was seeing, you know how hard giving tech support over the phone is, right? I always tell them I don't know, I need to go see it, and I run out there and I have to make this extra trip to go help either a customer or a tech that I'm training, right? They don't know something and I got to tell them over the phone. They don't understand what I'm talking about. I have to go there and visually show them. You can say goodbye to that frustration if you have TethrIT Now. This lets you step right into their situation remotely without any mobile apps or any software downloads. It's a live video feed so you can see what they're seeing, and there's augmented reality tools that let you basically draw on the screen, kind of point to things and guide them to maybe a simple fix or something that they missed. You can also assess the situation before you have to go out to that call, and that in turn will help you reduce wasted trips. Maybe also just see if you need to pick up any extra parts after seeing what the issue that they're having. You can get those on the way to that call, and you can increase customer satisfaction. There's no apps, no downloads, just a text message link to connect to either your customer or your technician. Learn more at VIZALOGIX.com/HVAC. And if you guys want to quote and invoice quickly and efficiently, you should check out Jobber. You can use it on the go, on the job site, with their mobile app, or access it with any browser that has internet. You can schedule jobs, dispatch techs, set reoccurring jobs like maintenance. That's a big one. Set real time price lists, and much, much more. It's professional and affordable. If you're still using pen and paper, it's definitely a no-brainer. So get yourself a free trial and a discount by going to getjobber.com/reliablehvacr. Thank you guys.